All right, so we're back. I was trying to wait for Doug, but it seems as though he disappeared because not far from this neighborhood. We're not far from the neighborhood, and I don't know, he might have just walked home being on the phone. But we're going to take it from the top of 9. And the sovereigness of Sheba heard of the report of Shlomo, and came to Jerusalem to try Shlomo with hard questions with a very great company, and camels bearing spices, and much gold and precious stones. And she came to Shlomo, and she spoke with him about all that was in her heart. And Shlomo answered all her questions. And there was no matter hidden for Shlomo which he did not make known to her. And the sovereigness of Sheba saw the wisdom of Shlomo, and the house that he had built, and the food of his table, the food on his table, and the seating of his servants, and the service of his waiters, and their attire, and their cupbearers, and their attire, and his ascending offerings that he offered in the house of Yahweh. And there was no more spirit in her. Then she said to the sovereign, True was the word I heard in my land about your words and your wisdom. But I did not believe their words until I came and saw it with my own eyes. And see, I have not been told the half of the greatness of your wisdom. You exceed the report which I heard. Blessed are your men, and blessed are these your servants, who stand continually before you and hear your wisdom. Blessed be Yahweh your Elohim, who delighted in you, to put you on his throne, to be sovereign for Yahweh your Elohim. Because your Elohim has loved Yisrael to establish them forever, therefore he made you sovereign over them, to do right ruling and righteousness. And she gave the sovereign 120 talents of gold, and very many spices and precious stones. And there had not been any spices such as those the sovereigness of Sheba gave to sovereign Shlomo. And also the servants of Hiram and the servants of Shlomo, who brought gold from Ophir, brought algum wood and precious stones. And the sovereign made stairs of the algum wood for the house of Yahweh and for the sovereign's house, also lyres and harps for singers. And there was never seen the like of them before in the land of Yehudah. And sovereign Shlomo gave to the sovereigness of Sheba all she desired, whatever she asked, besides that which she had brought to the sovereign, and she turned and went to her own land, she and her servants. And the weight of gold that came to Shlomo yearly was 666 talents of gold, besides that which the merchants and traders brought. And all the sovereigns of Arabia and governors of the land were bringing gold and silver to Shlomo. And sovereign Shlomo made 200 large shields of beaten gold. 600 pieces of beaten gold went into each shield, and 300 shields of beaten gold. 300 pieces of gold went into each shield, and the sovereign put them in the house of the forest of Lebanon. And the sovereign made a great throne of ivory, and overlaid it with clean gold. And 6 steps led to the throne with a footstool of gold, which were fastened to the throne. And there were armrests on either side of the place of the seat, and 2 lions stood beside the armrests. And 12 lions were standing there, one on each side of the 6 steps. The like of it was not in any reign. And all the drinking vessels of sovereign Shlomo were of gold, and all the vessels of the house of the forest of Lebanon were of refined gold. Silver was reckoned of little value in the days of Shlomo. For the sovereign's ships went to Tarshish with the servants of Hiram. Once in 3 years the ships of Tarshish came, bringing gold and silver, ivory and apes and baboons. And sovereign Shlomo became greater than all the sovereigns of the earth in riches and wisdom. And all the sovereigns of the earth sought the presence of Shlomo to hear his wisdom, which Elohim had put in his heart. And each man brought his present, objects of silver and objects of gold, and garments and armor and spices, horses and mules, the matter of a year by year. And Shlomo had 4,000 stalls for horses and chariots, 12,000 horsemen whom he stationed in the chariot cities with the sovereign at Jerusalem. And he ruled over all the sovereigns from the river to the land of the Philistines as far as the border of Mitzrayim. And the sovereign made silver in Jerusalem as the stones, and he made cedar trees as plenty as the sycamores which are in the low country. And they were bringing horses to Shlomo from Mitzrayim and from all lands. And the rest of the acts of Shlomo, first and last, are they not written in the book of Nathan the prophet, and in the prophecy of Ahijah the Shilonite, and in the visions of Iddo the seer concerning Jeroboam son of Nebat? And Shlomo reigned in Jerusalem over all Israel 40 years. So Shlomo slept with his fathers and was buried in the city of David his father, and Rehoboam his son reigned in his place. So this is a little bit more concise of a description. You know, we've only got 9 chapters of Solomon as opposed to like dang near an entire book. Yeah, a lot of kind of details. The sovereigness of Sheba is quite impressed with what she sees. Sure, Solomon was pleased with that. And the wisest man to ever live, Solomon was. And we saw how much credence Yahweh gave to his prayer for wisdom. This is 110. Now give me wisdom and knowledge so that I go out and come in before this people. For who is able to rightly rule this great people of yours? And that is what he did. And the sovereigness of Sheba is quite impressed. Gives him a whole bunch of gold and all these spices and precious stones. And algum wood is used for building stairs to the house of Yahuwah and to the house of Solomon. He makes shields of gold. And 12 lions were standing there, one on each side of the 6 steps. The like of it was not in any reign. And this is interesting to me. This is the only time bringing gold and silver and ivory, apes and baboons from Tarshish. Which I'm not sure exactly where Tarshish is. Let's see if it's on the map. But apes from Tarshish, where are apes? Like, apes are like an African thing. Apes and baboons are an African thing, so... Abraham's journey, yeah, there's no African. Arab desert, 7 assemblies. Odessa, Sidon, Jerusalem, Mitzrayim, On. Events in the Tanakh. Salt Sea. Tribal allotments, no. We can look up where Tarshish is. Biblical Tarshish. Text your mom, people. If there's anybody watching this who has not spoken to their mom today or recently, talk to your mother. My mom just texted me. And so I stopped to answer her and tell her that I loved her, because I do. And now we're going to find out, where is Tarshish? Tarshish in the Bible. Tarshish is a seaport. On the Red Sea, west of Israel. Well, let's see. Wow, that is a little red bug. Little guys will get you. West of Israel would be like, you know, kind of there. Middle Eastern geography, I have no idea. Especially like old Middle Eastern. How do you even quantify this? Point being, they brought apes and baboons, and This is the only time that I know that they're mentioned in here, and I was intrigued to see that. So, fun fact. And all the sovereigns of the earth, verse 23, sought the presence of Shlomo to hear his wisdom, which Elohim had put in his heart. So, like, basically, he's the man, you know? Like, people are coming from far and wide just to get advice from him. You know what I mean? And, like, so David was a badass king in that he did all the stuff. He was a warrior. He was a man of battle. And then Solomon, Shlomo, is the wisest man to ever live. And people are coming from far and wide to see him. And I like, too, being a restaurant man, going back to verse 3, and the sovereigness of Sheba saw the wisdom of Shlomo and the house that he had built, and the food on his table, and the seating of his servants, and the service of his waiters and their attire, and his cupbearers and their attire, and his ascending offerings that he offered up in the house of Yahweh, and there was no more spirit in her. And so she's noticing all the fine details of the way that he lives, and the fact that everything is in order as he's commanded it, but it doesn't even mention that it's under his command. It's obviously implied, but it's just so fluid. The way that everything works because of the wisdom that he has just works. It just goes. And there was no more spirit in her. And I think that's important too, because she's so overcome with reverence for the work that Elohim has done in Shlomo, that there was no more spirit in her. She entirely gave up her spirit to what she was seeing, what was before her, which is beautiful. And she blesses everybody. I did not believe their words until I came and saw with my own eyes, and see, I have not been told half of the greatness of your wisdom. You exceed the report which I heard. Blessed are your men, and blessed are these your servants, who stand continually before you and hear your wisdom. Blessed be Yahweh, your Elohim, who delighted in you to put you on his throne, to be sovereign for Yahweh your Elohim, because your Elohim has loved Yisrael to establish them forever. Therefore, he made you sovereign over them to do right ruling and righteousness. And that's literally exactly how it went, was that he prayed for wisdom, and so that he could rule the people, and Elohim loved Yisrael so that they would be led by a man of his own wisdom. And so, let it be. And so shall it be. Amen.